this is a big deal. This thing that's going on with Tucker, and he's I'm sure he's already probably flying back, and but he's in Russia. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Or was in Russia with interviewing President Vladimir Putin. That was saying that there was also a possibility he was going to try to interview Snowden. You know what I mean? The guy who took all the information from the Pentagon. But the interview took place. He was successful
Mm-hmm.
getting their interview. It's about 2 hours.
Mm.
You know what I mean, from beginning to end, which means that they have the ability to have a lengthy conversation.
Yeah, it
Remember that
wasn't
Putin has been around for a while, so he's not. This is not his first
Yeah.
rodeo.
Correct.
Whatever came out of his mouth is make no
by
mistake
design.
about it
Yeah.
what he intended to
Mhm.
say,
Yeah.
right? With that being said, I'm gonna give him credit for taking the step to doing something that is definitely not popular, right?
Mm-hmm.
People were not happy when people went to Cuba. People were not happy when they, I mean, now you have people that are saying you shouldn't be there, right, because of what's going on with Putin. But the fact is, we've been hearing a one-sided opinion,
Yeah.
right, and giving the mic to only one person who's costing us a lot of money right now
Mhm.
as a country, without hearing what the other person has to say. Why are you doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
What prompted you? What are the claims? What are the rights? The pushback again, Tucker Carlson though. And credit to Musk, you know what I mean, who said, "Listen, if you get the interview done, we're not gonna take it down. You put it up there. Whatever happens, happens. We're gonna leave it out there exactly the way it is, unedited." So apparently that's the way it's already out. You know what I mean? So hopefully people will go and take a look at it. You make your own mind about the whole process, and we'll do a separate video just to do
An analysis.
a little bit of some of the takeaways. But guys, the European Union is taking some sanctions actions. I don't know. They're gonna.
Is the next Julian Assange?
Again, not allow him to travel into the
Yeah.
European
Yeah.
Union, like
Like,
stuff that you go,
put him in jail.
okay, what are you so afraid of?
Mm-hmm.
And what exactly is this guy doing? Because he's not the one who's allowing 8 million people to come into the country illegally. He's not the one who's destroying the economy. He's not the one who's like, there's a lot of things that I understand people should be like furious about, not because a guy who is, yes, he does commentary, he's got a very strong opinion, is undeniable that he is leans to the right, that he's a conservative, but he's also a journalist at the end.
Mhm.
And everybody, I don't care who you are, you can be, listen, Jorge Ramos right now would be going, man, I wish I could interview that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
I agree.
it is an interview that people want to have. You know what I mean? Ask
He doesn't
Patrick,
have the
ask
courage.
Patrick Bet David if he would like to interview, and he would say, hell yeah, of course I
Right.
want to. Right? Everybody, you want to be able to have this kind of conversation, so I give him a lot of credit for that. But how do you feel about that kind of pushback and the fact that, imagine if Elon Musk didn't do what he did right now. Imagine where we would be right now in
he
terms
didn't
of
own-
communications and the limitation. I probably wouldn't even be able to have this conversation right now without the risk of something,
Yeah.
going negative here.
So I mean, to me, I think it's good that he's doing it. I'm not surprised that he's getting pushback. I feel like this is an ongoing war for freedom of speech, and it's not going to stop. It's just going to be a matter of how much can we say and where is it okay to say it.
Correct.
But this is something that we've been dealing with for a while now, and unfortunately, people only want the rules to apply to like other people, not themselves. It's a problem when you do it, but it's not a problem when I do it. So I see a lot of this happening. So like I said, at the end of the day, regardless of what your views are on any entity or person, I think it's still good to hear both sides of any story, or it's still good to see, like, we literally have whole shows that dedicate to hearing what the mind of a serial killer, and you haven't so even if the
That's true.
person is crazy,
But also
I
the
still want to.
hypocrisy, though. Also the hypocrisy. I mean, people forget that, like, Barack Obama went to Cuba to watch a baseball game and was sitting with Raul Castro, right? And everybody was like, okay, so how do we read into this? Man, a lot of the Cuban people, that said, these are the same people that killed my family. And then no matter what you were saying, at some point, we have to bridge the gap. At some point, we got to find a way to. So people that were arguing for we got to be reasonable at these moments and be lenient are just not willing to be reasonable right now. Like you're saying, you have to be willing. You want to understand the mind of a killer. You want to understand the mind of a dictator. You want to understand the.
Yeah. So to me, I think it's good, but I'm not. I'm also not surprised that there's a pushback. Because there's a lot of that. They're trying to shut everything up. That's different.
But when you're saying you're not surprised, what do you mean by that? You're not
So what I'm
surprised
saying is, I feel like there's a big push from not just like the government, but like the people who own even YouTube and Facebook. They don't want us to like talk about anything if it doesn't go
Why
along.
though?
I don't know why, other than the fact that it'll be too reasonable for people to know both sides of the story. It'll be too reasonable for people to make decisions on their own. So if I can eliminate half of every story,
honestly, they're freaking bought and paid for.
No, but can I tell you?
It's like they want to control the rhetoric because it gives them more power because it puts more money into their pockets. That's it.
Can I tell you the only conclusion that I come to when I see that kind of pushback is that if you want to know the influence right now of our centralized government, you know what I mean? If you want to know the influence of the White House right now going into this media outlets and saying, if you're going to talk about this is how you're going to present it. Or don't talk about it, period.
Correct.
And so now you have all these other independent outlets that also made it very clear through hearings with the Senate, through hearings with Congress, that they had, Facebook already accepted, Meta already accepted the fact that they had been requested to don't talk about that, don't say it. That has been the case for anything from Google to
Twitter.
Yeah.
When Twitter was Twitter before it became X, before Elon Musk, like how many times do we have to see the level of censorship and the level of involvement that government has in the way that we are communicating? So it's really scary. And the thing about a platform like Facebook is that it became like social media became the way that we connect with each other. And the way that the algorithms are also put together, they're really made to say, like, you're really part of my team or you're really freaking against me. And so it creates a lot of animosity and a lot of division, which is exactly what it takes because, to win a war, you have to divide and conquer. And so what's happening is they're dividing us while the government and all of this, because basically the social media right now is basically another branch of government, which is just pushing agenda. And when you say words like centralized government, like a whole lot of red flags come up in my brain because that does not lead to anything good.
But that's exactly what it becomes, and it has become. The moment that you have a group of people that are policing what you're saying, opposed to what you're stealing,
right?
You know what I mean? That's a significant problem. And by the way, I don't want anybody to go watch this video almost with that romantic idea or the romantic approach that maybe Vladimir Putin is a good guy. You know what I mean?
No.
The fact of the matter is that I'm trying to understand why he chose to do what he did at this moment, especially when, guys, when I tell you if there was a guy who had earned incredible amount of good faith when it came to his positions about so many values and principles that he was literally saying the West is walking away from all of these things, and the claim that Russia still wants to make, and especially somebody like him, that is almost as if it's a divine mandate or principle or calling to be something different and unique and special. And what I mean by that is that even when they have the opportunity to just integrate to the European Union, they chose not to. But in reality, Russia is listen, it would have taken almost zero effort for them to be into that integration.
Right.
They not, obviously, it's not an Asian position. It's not a Western position. It's not part of the
It's a
European
Russian
black.
position.
It's literally what it's saying
Yeah,
is like,
it's like,
we are something
yeah,
different,
just leave me alone.
right? And so okay, so let's go with that argument. You are something different. As something different, what is your argument? What do you
Right.
want? Because you can't just go around, and if you're not able to argue your ideas in a way that your ideas will be winning the fight, and then the only way that you can go about it is I'm going to bomb the crap out of
Bombing,
you so
yeah.
that I can. That's so I am curious. I'm inviting people to watch it so that they can again try to understand what would be that perspective. Don't fall in love. Don't go in there with anything. Just listen. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just listen and make an assessment about things that may or may not make sense, because this guy was making a lot of sense from so many different issues right before the whole war happened. With the literally, I set up a video. One of my first videos on the channel was
That's
you
true.
know the new Roman, the new emperor. You know what I mean? This is a guy that literally the way he was behaving. I was saying this guy is gonna, as it is, he already has a lot of power. Managed to get Russia back into the map, back into the geopolitical. Russia was destroyed. The economy was like non-existent. You know, and the only thing they were left with was nuclear weapons, right? And if you were to remove all but they got lucky also. The fact is they have big deposits of natural gas, and obviously they also have a lot of oil. So they're not gonna be a poor country
Right.
anymore. They have resources to do that, and they have a guy who is pro-Russian. And whether we like it or not, those things is something that should be respected. So I do want to watch it.
Yeah.
We'll provide
Absolutely.
a separate video just to give some feedback on that. Love to see what anybody's already thinking about it, but